This is Andi Purewal, Boxing Social, in association with Betfred. We're at the Matchroom Gym, and I'm joined by Felix Cash, who's currently hand wrapping. Felix, firstly, how are you doing?
Not too bad yourself, you good?
I'm good. Obviously, just catching up with everybody today. So Tony Connor here. But with yourself, what is the latest? Obviously, speaking to Tony, he said that you're going to be out July 9th, just waiting for an opponent to be confirmed.
Yeah, July 9th. I was meant to be fighting. like I've done basically the whole camp. I was meant to be fighting on June the 4th on Joe Cordina's bill, but couldn't get the right opponent in time, so it's July 9th now.
When you say you couldn't get the right opponent, what is the right opponent for you, Felix, at this stage now? You know, the European title is something that's been mentioned for a while alongside your name. Is that still the one which you want?
Well, it's still one we want, but obviously it's all about time. Isn't it? I'm ready to step up now to world level. You know what I mean? So we're looking. When I say a right opponent, I mean like a world level opponent that's going to put me in a position to get myself up there and get me known on the world stage.
So when you look at the 160 division, Felix, outside of whoever holds the current titles, who do you believe is a good test for you, who's either competed at world level or fought for a world title and fallen short, or maybe even a former world champion?
There's a few names out there, isn't there? There's a guy we're looking at trying to get from Poland. What's his name, Tony? Zarameta. You know, he's boxed obviously boxed Golovkin and Bolonga, so he's been in with the top guys, and he's a game opponent, and I think it'd be a good opponent for me next.
I was going to say, I remember Zarameta fighting Gennady Golovkin the day before Canelo Smith, and John Ryder was obviously on that Golovkin card as well, yeah. So just kind of that recollection or what you know about Zarameta, what would you expect to gain from fighting him?
Listen, he's game. He comes to fight, and he's a game opponent, and he comes and has a go. He had a right go with Golovkin too, So I think he made me look good, and like you say, he's been in with Golovkin, fought Malonga, so he's a well-known name. So it'd be a good name to get me resume in and get me ready for the world title eliminators or world titles afterwards.
I mean, of course, for British boxing fans, there's always going to be talk about potential domestic clashes, the likes of Liam Williams and even Chris Eubank Jr. are there. Do you think either of those are possible?
Yeah, I'll jump at an opportunity with one of those, Chris Eubank Jr. I'd love to have that fight. I've done many rounds of sparring. I know it was a long time ago with Chris Eubank Jr. and I know I got his number, so I'd love if I could get that fight.
Oh, what can you tell us about that past sparring, Felix? What do you remember from it?
It was a long time ago. Listen, he's improved obviously since then. We're looking about 6 years ago. It's about 6 years ago now, 5-6 years ago. And but I've done about 100 rounds of sparring with him. And let's say I was well on top, and I felt like I was well on top in them rounds. So I'd love to get in the ring with him with the small gloves on and do it properly.
What do you make of his win back in February against Liam Williams?
It was good. It was a good win, didn't he? He looked good, but Williams didn't look that good, did he? He was going down with jabs and that. So he didn't look his best, and I don't think he wasn't his night.
Obviously, this past weekend we saw Johnny Beck stop Danny Dignam in the third round of their fight. What did you make of that, and how far off the fight with, say, Johnny Beck do you feel you are?
Listen, he looked good. He's good, that Kazakh. I boxed him in the amateurs. He's very good what he does. He punches hard. He's a good boxer, and he showed like he's levels above Danny Dignam. Danny. He's no disrespect to him. He's I know he's at that level at the stage. He ain't even fought anyone at world level. So I think what he's done is he's fought people at a certain level, and then he's made a jump up, and obviously the jump is just too big for him. He never had any hard tests before he boxed him.
Just away from yourself, Felix, just a couple of guys to get your thoughts on. Just start off with kind of who's here in the gym. Obviously waiting for news on his next fight. Keith Thurman seems to be the name being bandied about. What would be your thoughts if Conor was to face Keith next?
It's going to be a very good fight. Think Thurman's been there, done it, and he's won his fight. But Conor's looked great in his last few performances. So, I think he's got a momentum, Conor, now, and everyone's talking about him, everyone's excited about him. So, listen, it'll be a very good fight, and I believe Conor could beat him.
You've got Joe Cordina, who isn't in the gym yet today, or unless he's just arrived and I've missed him, but he's obviously getting ready for his first world title fight next weekend against Kenichi Ogawa. Just your thoughts on what to expect in that fight and how you believe this is the right time for Joe to become a world champion?
Yeah, I think it's the right time for Joe. I reckon Joe beats him, and if you have to give me a prediction, I reckon he beats him on points, outboxes him, and it's going to be a good fight.
How does Joe need to approach the fight? You mentioned beating him on points, but how do you actually expect it to play out? How's Joe looking to engage with Kenichi?
Listen, no one knows what you're going to do until you get in there. Obviously, it's a different ball game. But I think Joe and obviously Tony's they've been working on a game plan, and I'm sure Joe will execute a game plan on the night and do a job on him and become IBF world champion.
And just a word on John Ryder as well. So Eddie Hearn mentioned a potential fight with Billy Joe Saunders. Just your take, what would be your thoughts on John Ryder and Billy Joe?
That's another good fight. Another very good fight, because obviously they had a fight a good few years ago now, and it was a very good close fight. And he just beat Jacobs, John Ryder, and if Billy Joe wants to get back in the mix to get back into the world title mix and get one of them big fights again, he's going to have to. He's going to have to beat someone with a good name, and obviously John Ryder beating Jacobs now. He's a name now, John Ryder. So, I can see why Billy Joe wants that fight and to get himself back in the mix.
Felix, just going to squeeze one more in there. I forgot to ask you about Denzel Bentley, your past opponent, his victory against Linus Adofia recently. What did you make of their fight?
Yeah, it was a good fight. Yeah, fair play to him. To come back and win the British title, and it was a good fight. Linus done well too, but I think the best man won, and it was a good fight.
Right, Felix, now we can leave it there. Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Nice one.